everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk about things that we totally need to give up in order to raise our vibration. Number one, raising our vibration will get much stronger once we stop being victims. Stop being victims of the process. Stop being victims of the story that we keep telling ourselves. Stop blaming others and telling our childhood stories as if they are still influencing us today. Because the more we put energy into those stories, the more we believe them, the more we become the victim. Now, we don't always notice it. We never want to say that we are acting like a victim. It's usually sort of like fear. We don't want to admit that we have fear, but there's lots of fears out there, aren't they? There's a fear that we don't even understand that it's there for us. There's a fear of missing out. There's a fear of being alone. There's a fear of ridicule. There's a fear of vaccinations. There's a fear of not having enough money to finish the month. There's a fear of abandonment. There's a fear of somebody else doing a better job than me. There's a fear of not pleasing my sexual partner. There's so many different fears out there. And when I'm talking about victimization, I'm talking about something that we do on a day-to-day basis. For example, when we are blaming somebody else for anything that happened to us, when we are not taking full responsibility for something, then we're actually acting like a victim because we're not thinking in a way that an angel would, seeing the completely non-dual reality and understanding and embracing it as it is. We keep blaming our parents or our brothers and siblings, our sisters, for things that happened to us in the childhood, things that happened and created traumas in our life. And you know something? Yes, it's true. Some bad things happened in our lives. And it's okay that they happen. They happen for a reason. Everything that happened, we ordered, invited into our life. We chose to manifest it so we can learn from it. And when we get into this attitude, more like a fifth dimensional being that we are, and not a 3D person, we understand the whole picture. And the whole picture is that I planned this. And if I planned this, I cannot be a victim to it. Because this is my plan. This is my orchestra. This is what I have decided to create, and therefore everything is perfect. But yes, from a 3D or from an earthling type of, from a 3D perspective, yes, things hurt. There's others to blame for that. I can't take responsibility for everything. I am a victim. And we keep saying that to ourselves until we actually believe that we are victims. When are we going to give that up? To raise our vibration. So yes, to raise our vibration, the first thing we need to do is stop playing the victim. Stop playing the victim in our relationship, blaming our partner because we can't stand him. We've been together for too long now, and we see those little things that really annoy us. Stop blaming our parents, stop blaming our boss or our colleagues for things that happen to us. We'll stop blaming the president for the bad things that are happening in our country or the prime minister. We'll stop blaming bigger corporations for stealing all the money in the world. There's so much blame to go around, but who is it to blame? It's us. When we will change, and I'm not talking about collective, I'm talking about the personal level. On the personal level, when a person changes, his whole life changes. He starts viewing reality differently. He puts on these pink glasses, and when he looks through those pink glasses, suddenly the whole world looks different. I will remind you the times that you were in love. I will remind you the times that everything works out for you, because everyone has those times, those amazing times. For some it's in high school, for others it's in college, for others it's when they grow up, your married day, whatever, marriage day, whatever. Everyone has that time in their life that they can relate to and remember, where the world looked like everything is working out for them. And then you understand it's all about your perspective on things. It's how you choose to see things with your pink glasses. So, number one, stop being a victim. You are the owner, you are the creator, you are the inner God. Just remember that and start connecting with that. You will see that when you breathe, when you inhale the chi or the prana that is around you, and you focus on your heart chakra, and you focus on your mental, all the brain activity that's happening right now, and just let them go and just allow yourself to assume responsibility, to see the perfectness of your well-designed life. Number two, stop pleasing others. And this is another way of saying start being yourself, but your true self. You know, we notice that when we go to high school usually, even in preschool sometimes. you notice that we want to belong in some way. So we change ourselves in order to fit into a specific group. That's why you see a lot of high school kids, they kind of like look the same or talk the same. The ego is there, but they still don't know how to define it as an ego. And my humbly apologies for the different teenagers that are watching this now. You guys are a very, very high energy generation that is much better than we are, like we are a much better generation than the ones before us. And some of you are ready, and some of you are already in a high frequency. So I do not mean to generalize any of you. So when we stop pleasing others, we start falling in love with ourselves as we are. And then we actually become much more honest about things, because we start seeing the perfection in ourselves. When we want to please our parents and we go to become a lawyer or a doctor, but it was not what we wanted to do, it wasn't what our heart called for, then eventually when we are in the middle of school, in the middle of our studies, or when we actually go and start working that job, after a few months, after a few years, sometime it will come up that we don't enjoy it anymore. And this is called following the path of resistance. When we are resisting our job, when we're resisting an inner call, this call of our soul, which is to be ourselves, things don't really align. Things align when we follow our heart, when we follow our joy. That's when we have our highest frequency. When we try to please our partner by doing something that goes against what we really want to do, goes against our beliefs, goes against anything that we stand for, then we're actually doing something that is lowering our frequency, because we are not ourselves. And trust me when I tell you, you have designed this life together with your guide. You can call it God, you can call it your future self, you can call it so many different ways, but these life were designed for you to be yourself. And when I'm saying to be yourself, it means there are certain gifts that you came into this world with. Imagine Mozart and Beethoven, age of 3, age of 4, already creating, using the gifts that were naturally given to them. That's a soul that already knew what it's going to do, okay? Every one of us has a certain thing that we're attracted to. For example, when we're in school, there's certain subjects that are easier for us. For some it's mathematics, for some it's sports, for some it's literature or English. It doesn't really matter. But when we are attracted to something, that's where our gift is. Some of us are better with our body, some of us are better with our mind, some of us are just beautiful, and that's what they need to use in order to move forward in life. For me, for example, one of my gifts is being able to simplify spiritual information, grounding it, and I'm using that gift. My second gift is being able to explain myself, being tall, having this weird ass hair, attracting the right type of attention, having a deep voice. So in order to raise your vibration, please stop trying to please others. Be yourself. It's so easier, it's much easier to be ourselves than to pretend that we are something else. It's sort of like when we lie for the first time and afterwards we need to create another lie in order for someone not to find out that we lied for the first time. So when we are ourselves, things are much easier. We don't have to lie anymore. We can actually stop pretending to be something else in order to please others. And this has to do with the minimizing of our ego and acceptance of ourselves. And the beautiful thing that happens is that when a person is really himself, he emanates a different type of frequency. And others, in the beginning, they might ridicule him for being himself, having these different opinions of being a weirdo and unsocial or whatever, or an introvert or whatever it is that you think you are. But after a while, they begin to respect you. And eventually they will come up to you and they will ask you, how come you're not a sheeple? How come you don't try to please others? How come you are yourself, and how can I learn to do that? That's so amazing. The third thing that we need to give up is eating meat. And yes, I am sorry for those that eat meat right now. I'm not trying to portray you in a different way or in a negative way. I'm just telling you, these are the studies. This is what happens. It's either that you stop eating meat and get into a higher vibration, or when you get to a higher vibration by yourself and be more conscious, then eventually you'll stop eating meat. It's just a part of the path. Because when you get to 5D, when you get to this higher energy or higher vibration, you will understand that whatever it is that you're eating or consuming has energy in it. And right now, the type of meat that we have in the world is the type of meat that has an energy of murder or of sacrifice or of fear and all these things that are so negative in our life. Now, I'm not the one that is going to bring vegetarian information into the web and telling you what you need to do and what you don't need to do. I'm just showing you how it feels. Also, if you're going to talk to vegetarians or vegans, you probably notice that they will tell you that they need to eat a little bit less and they feel more alive, they feel a little bit more energy in their life, they feel better eventually. because something is cleared out from their conscience, actually eat considerably less. That's going to raise your frequency, because it's quite obvious and easy to understand that when we are eating something that is heavy, it's going to ground us. And we want to raise our frequency, so we want to go up. The more we are in the physical body, or the more we eat heavier elements, cooked food or things that are not really healthy for the body, the more grounded we're going to become. Now, I don't mean to judge anybody, and I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm just showing you the facts. The facts are that the higher vibration comes from fruits, it comes from vegetables, it comes from water, it comes from green tea. It never comes from meat. Meat carries an energy in this time on our planet, an energy that is of murder, an energy that is of fear of the animal right before it's tortured and killed. And the type of places that they keep the animals are torture by themselves. If you want to get to a higher vibration, you probably want to get a more vegetarian or vegan type of diet and eat significantly less. You'll see immediately a change in your life. And that, yes, it does take a few days of adjustment, but when you get there, anything that you eat that will be heavy will suddenly feel too much for you to be. And you know, I am a guide for breatharian initiations and for pranic initiations. So what we do there is we have very extended long fasts or gradual fasts, and I see the difference in people. I see immediately within a week a higher vibration. I'm talking about being grateful, accepting. I'm talking about solving relationship issues that happen within just 1 week. Even solving issues at your work, because when you change, your perception on the world changes, and therefore you are more brave, you have more energy, you have more belief in yourself, and that's going to get you to the highest vibration. Now, the last thing, the +1 in the 3+1 bingo style title I had here, is to stop overthinking, okay? Now, overthinking means you think too much about the future, you think too much about the past. Don't try to compare yourself to others that you consider as overthinking. You start seeing when you're thinking about the future. The future comes up all the time. I'm talking about tomorrow, I'm talking about the end of the month. I'm usually talking about fears, things that you don't need to deal with anymore. Things that are in your past are in your past. Look forward. You're moving forward. You're not moving to the past anymore. So again, coming back to point number 1, stop with the stories. Overthinking means I'm actually in the mind much more than I am in my heart, and much more than I am expressing the now moment, which is really the only moment that really exists. So my friends, thank you very much for being on my channel. And if you guys are watching this before January 2018, I really want you to join the Consciousness Challenge Week. It's all on my website, www.maor.com, or on my Facebook page. Thank you for watching me, and have a pleasant day.